started. Well, welcome everyone to the Hydra working group meeting. I don't have an agenda. So does anyone else have anything they want to chat about? I could perhaps talk about a little bit of what we've been doing and what we're thinking about. But very happy to hear from anyone else.
Yeah, at the end, I can talk a little bit about MuGraph, which is a project that I'm working on. I have some new updates, some explanation that people might find interesting.
Yeah, cool. Philip or Aaron?
I don't really have anything to talk about, unfortunately.
No worries. Phil?
I have some questions about Hydra if we don't have any topics.
Yeah,
Uh,
I'll do my best.
yeah. First, I want to know what's the state for incremental commits. I don't know if it has been merged yet or if it's going to be, and also know if there has been any progress in the past few months on interhead hydras, heading head, and also hydra tails.
Yes, lovely questions. I can answer one or two of them. So incremental commits
Awesome.
is in progress. We've got the kind of off-chain part, in fact, has been merged. And so hopefully you've seen a big warning somewhere, which is kind of like the code at the moment has a kind of like a return true validator that we're presently fixing. So the bottom line is we're working on the on-chain part of incremental commits, the kind of tests and these mutation tests. And I think now we're doing these like trace tests. So that's being worked on, going well. I would hope that gets merged in the next couple of weeks. So yeah, to answer your question about incremental commits, not fully ready yet, but coming soon. The question about Interhead Hydra and friends, I think Philip, maybe you want to comment on that because there's been a lot of what's the word? Hype. People are getting excited about your catalyst proposal that you're a part of, Philip. So, could you say that again?
Midgard, you're talking about, right?
Well, I'm talking specifically.
The interoperability. Yes, yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. So that's been mentioned by me myself many times to several people now. So yeah, we're excited about that. We'd love to see that go ahead. And Kanye, did you get a link to this one? Have you seen this catalyst proposal that Philip and Sebastian and some others put together?
I have not. Can you send me?
The goal is
I skipped
basically
this F13.
I'll post it on the chat now. But yeah, Philip, please.
Yeah, in EVM-centric ecosystems like Ethereum, one of the nice things about us starting late on Cardano with layer 2s is that we know the problem space. And we know that sort of the biggest problem facing these layer 2 centric ecosystems is interoperability. They call this also liquidity fragmentation, UX fragmentation, etc., of layer 2s. And one of the nice things is that those ecosystems have invested millions and millions in solutions for this. And there are technical solutions for it. Like, it's no longer a technical problem. At the beginning, it was like, how can we achieve this technologically? Now it's done. There's solutions out there like AgLayer and superchains that solve it technologically. But it's a social issue of like each of these aggregation layers, as they're called, captures value, right? So each layer 2 wants everyone else to use their aggregation layer. Polygon has their own aggregation layer, and they say, everyone, you guys, Optimism, you guys should use this aggregation layer. and Optimism has their own, and they're trying to get everyone to use theirs, et cetera, et cetera. Because whichever one is universally adopted will capture a huge amount of value. The nice thing about Cardano is that we're a lot more close knit and on good terms with the other developers of layer 2 solutions. So we won't really face this social problem of like trying to impose an interoperability aggregation layer on the other solutions. And that's sort of what this proposal is the basis for, is to create a universal aggregation layer for Cardano to stop this problem before it even exists.
That is indeed very cool. Actually, if I was going to apply on F13 for something to do Hydra to Lightning integration. I have been talking with some guys from the Nervous Foundation. So if you need contact with them, please do tell me, because they have been doing lots of Bitcoin and Bitcoin-like chains. And I think they might be very helpful, especially because they haven't been wanting to finance a project that does something like that.
Sorry, you said Nervos, as in CKB?
CKB, yeah, CKB.
Interesting. So an aggregation layer they're interested in an aggregation layer for their layer 2s or for like layer 1 blockchains?
They're interested in interoperability between CKB/Lightning to Hydra, basically.
I see.
In what terms that might happen, I think you would have a good time discussing with them.
Yep. Yeah, I'd be happy to. Although I think it would be a little different because the system for an interoperability layer like ag layer that we're trying to approach this Catalyst proposal from is to have the communication layer, because the layer 2s that can easily be joined onto this have to inherit the security of Cardano consensus, right? So we can trust the data that they transit. If for instance a layer 2 is on a different chain, then it becomes more of a bridge, because it's no longer interoperability. It's interoperability of, like, we lose the security of the Cardano L1, which is what we're trying to inherit in a rollup or a layer 2.
Just to make sure, so you have been focusing more on rollups and let's say ZK optimistic and so on, and not precisely on like a payment chain of like Lightning.
No, it could be it could be like Hydra, for instance. Like Hydra can the idea is it would be an interoperability layer for all layer 2s based on Cardano, right? So as long as the layer 2 inherits security from Cardano, like Hydra does, right? Hydra, the security at the end of the day is entirely determined by the participant set on Cardano. And if you're a participant, you have the full security of the layer 1. With respect to the trade-offs. So that, right, for instance, can communicate through this interoperability protocol with Midgard, an optimistic rollup also on Cardano, or with ZK Fold, their ZK rollup that's on Cardano. But it couldn't, for instance, this interoperability layer could not be used to communicate with Bitcoin Lightning, right, which has its own consensus, because Bitcoin Lightning derives security from Bitcoin layer 1.
Yeah, that makes sense. It's one of the things that bugs me a lot, that we call Lightning and Hydra layer 2s. I don't think they are layer 2, layer 3s, or anything like that. The term that I've been liking to use is overlay networks. So in a sense, it's a way to do some off-chain arrangements to get inside the chain at some point. Those are, in a way, very different things. I think at some point we might need to discuss to have that message more direct to the people.
For sure. Yeah. But also, even if it's not a layer 2, we're still designing this interoperability layer so that it can communicate with Hydra, right? It just won't be able to communicate with Bitcoin Lightning or something that settles to a different layer 1.
That makes sense. And there also have been, I have seen lots of work in using adapter signatures to get atomic payments where only one side has smart contracts. So it might be even possible to do that on Lightning or at some point Bitcoin layer 1.
Yeah, now there's this bit VM, right? Which could,
Yeah.
we could design an interoperability layer on top of this interoperability layer. So like this one's a layer 2 interoperability layer. Then we could design a layer 1 interoperability layer on top of it to allow layer 2s across different layer 1 ecosystems to communicate.
Yeah, for sure.
Hi, guys.
Hey, George.
Hey, George and Doodle.
Only here for about 8 minutes because my other meeting ended early, but it's good to see you all.
No worries. Thanks for joining us.
What's the topic of discussion today?
Whatever you want.
Yeah.
We're freewheeling.
We were a little bit late as well, but it's TX Pipe's fault. We
It always is.
Yeah,
I always blame Santiago before everyone else.
The coder has to do, or can the devs do something, right?
Right.
The topic of discussion is one that makes us very, very happy. So if you maybe remember, we were talking in the beginning and we got funded for a Hydra micropayments and accounting system for quick phone NFC payments in shops for coffee, groceries, and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And they did a feasibility study before. It was the first milestone a couple of months ago.
TX Pipe?
Yeah. And now they presented the almost done system with loads of modules. I don't know how many hundreds of lines.
So you mean they've implemented the system or they've assessed what it would take to implement it?
So it's a first go. It doesn't contain all the features yet, but it is already functioning.
Oh, it's like our first prototype?
Yeah, it spins up the Hydra head. It commits some stuff into it, and then it decommits. Now we are working on the payment component, basically to orchestrate those payments. It leverages partial decommits. Obviously, one topic that's been actual for quite a while that emerged again when the partial commits will be available. I don't know if you guys have any visibility on that.
Well, they're working on them. I think they want to bring them into the next version, and they have a definite plan for how to implement it. So I think they're just working away. I can't necessarily give you, well, Noon probably would know better than me in terms of like the actual timelines, but from what I understand, there aren't any big questions that are unknown, right, in terms of that feature.
We're talking about incremental commits.
Incremental commits.
It's going. Yeah, it's going. It's going well. I think. Yeah.
Oh, sorry. What was that?
It's going well. I think. Yeah. It's not.
Yeah.
It's not done yet, but I'm hoping in the next couple of weeks. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good
that's
sign because that's
pretty
literally the first thing that we discussed on this call today.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then what the guys mentioned. So we are still due to receive a formal report on these angles, but they did submit a number of issues regarding Hydra. So we shall work in the coming weeks on formalizing some of that output, and then we can share it with you guys as well. Again, those were not necessarily big things, but rather things that were encountered as part of actually using the technology. So again, at least some form of contribution from a user of Hydra, which I think is.
You know what? That'd be really lovely. And actually, it's quite topical for us at the moment to be very interested in people operating Hydra, kind of like things that you've learned from just running it and using it. So literally anything you would tell us there would be extremely interesting and valuable. So that'd be really great.
Yeah. Within a couple of weeks, we shall probably have something to share, including a list of issues, a short story, and then hopefully we can also share the demo of the initial product, which again,
Okay.
that's the goal.
Nice.
Sounds great.
We should be done with the prototype in, well, depending on the audit, but in probably a couple of months, we should be able to do a payment here on the table between a phone and a merchant's computer. So yeah, let's see how it goes. But I'm very excited.
Yeah, another topic kind of was raised in the discussion was around who could help us with auditing some of the deliverables. And again, since there are not that many experienced actors on the market who could contribute on that, perhaps this is something we could leverage. Maybe some of you guys to take a peek at the code, at least at the key components, just share some opinions, if not something more formal. But again, this is
Well, you
just...
probably wouldn't want to be auditing your prototype. You'd want to be auditing closer to the end when you have a full-fledged thing, right? Because you don't necessarily want to be auditing and re-auditing and everything.
Exactly,
right?
That's the point. So it's not yet actual at this point, but just setting the seeds, if that makes sense, for a subsequent potential collaboration.
So are you like in your roadmap, are you seeing a need for auditing closer towards like May or something next year?
It's more like closer to the year.
The new year?
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
I mean,
So like January timeframe or something?
Yeah, so in a couple of weeks, we're going to be done with our 3rd out of 5 milestones. And after that, the 4th milestone includes auditing. I understand now it might not be like very correct to start auditing then, but in order to make a prototype that we can start testing, we do need a part of that as well, I guess.
Yeah, I mean the milestones kind of dictated. If the milestone says audit, you have to audit. So
yeah,
makes sense.
Yeah, at the same time, so again, we want to take things at a time. So we'll see how the demo goes. We'll look at the updated designs, because some bits and pieces here and there have been updated and evolved from the initial view that we had. We'll have some further insights into how the Hydra integration and the whole process went, some pitfalls, and then looking at all these materials, probably we shall be in a better position to decide whether it's a good time to actually kick off the audit, whether it will be a fully fledged audit or just a more superficial thing. It is still to be decided, but that's something that we are planning on doing, and ideally we would need some help with that.
Yeah.
Right.
Also for me on March, I am going to need audits, but not on smart contracts. I'm going to need audit on ZK Snark, so Plonk, maybe, basically. I have no idea where even to try to find those people.
Are you do you know the guys from ZK Fold?
No, I do not.
Are you connected with Phil? Because I think Phil can probably send you the contacts for those guys.
Yep. Yeah, I'll connect you to them.
Yeah, because those guys, that's their specialty, ZK stuff. So they can probably, give you an independent review at least, or maybe an audit.
Awesome. I sent on the chat my Discord. Yeah.
Cool. Oh yeah, and you and I were already connected on Discord. All right.
Yeah.
So yeah, either Phil or me, we'll send you the contact info for ZK Fold, and then you can start the conversation with them about, at the very least, an independent review. And I think they'll be happy to do it because they're interested in the ZK stuff for Cardano anyway. So they'd be curious to see what you've developed.
It's going to be great.
Cool. Yeah, Phil and I have to hop off. We have our next thing, but I just wanted to mention that for Midgard, we've made some really good progress on our specification. We've also been working on the implementation as well, but particularly the specification white paper, we're hoping to be able to share it sometime in the next month. So, well, we kind of have to as well to deliver our milestone, but yeah, that's kind of what we're hoping to achieve. And I'm personally pretty happy with what it looks like, and some of the concepts that we have flushed out in it, and how Midgard works at this point. There's some cool features in there, so stay tuned.
That's great. Can I just say
Awesome.
one thing before you two go? Which is that I don't know if you've heard from Charles or around the street, but 2025 is going to be the year of Hydra. So just in case
Nice.
anyone was wondering what the theme of 2025 is, that's what it's going to be.
So, full steam
Yeah,
ahead for
people-
sustainability.
I had talked to Charles about Midgard, and it seems like it's going to be the year of Hydra and Midgard and ZK Fold. I think it's the year of Cardano
Yeah.
innovation.
Right.
Yeah,
new world, man.
I'm sorry, but you guys are gonna lose. I'm going to unveil something cool. No, just kidding.
2025 is the year of Kanye.
Ah,
No,
it's the year
great.
of the
Okay,
Brazilian.
cool. Yeah. Well, thanks, George, Philip, for your
Have a
time.
nice one, you guys.
Thanks, George. Thanks,
Yeah,
Philip.
Chris.
See you later.
Cheers.
What?
Yeah. So before we at least we'll hop off. Can I give my update?
Yeah, please.
Awesome. So yeah, I have been working since the Catalyst 12 on a project called MuleGraph. MuleGraph is a private/anonymous payment solution for Cardano. It runs on top of Hydra, and the idea is that way before cryptocurrencies, one of the first ideas to actually have like digital cash doing cryptography was called eCash from David Chang. He devised a way that you can sign something and receive back a signature that you know that you yourself signed, but you don't know what to sign that generated. And the cool thing is that this just breaks the traceability between what comes as input and what comes as output. So you can have money that is completely indistinguishable from any other transaction of the same value. And this is called Xiaomi and eCash. There has been some implementations currently, and some of them even with some use like Cashew on Bitcoin. And the main idea for MuleGraph is that the system has two big failures. One of them is centralization, which is something that I am fine with for this use case specifically. But the other one is that every time that you send something, you're going to say, okay, this is a node for 50 Satoshis, which for Bitcoin is fine. So every 50 Satoshis transaction is the same. But it doesn't work too well for Cardano because you have NFTs, you have tokens that only a few people use, tokens that you know which wallets are using, and that kind of thing. So the main innovation from MuleGraph is that we use zero knowledge proofs to blind everything. So the server does not know about anything. It does not know which are the inputs that are coming on a transaction, which are the outputs that are coming on a transaction. So every user that transacts using the server, so using the Hydra heads that the server controls, they are concealed with all the transactions from all the other users that do use this node. So that's the main idea from MuleGraph. I had not presented it before, so sorry, it took a little bit longer. But for this milestone, I think that we are on a path from 2 weeks to at most a month to do the first release. People are going to be able to do transactions on it and check how it works. And I hope you guys do have some time to spend with it, have some fun, because it
That's
is
very cool.
very, very simple. And I had a lot of experience in the traditional credit card system. So I think that I managed to distill everything that is essential and not just be something that's very hard to implement, very hard to use for developers, especially the ones that are not very familiar with blockchain. So yeah, that's it. Thanks for listening.
That's great. Congrats. Is that going to be launched on mainnet or just on anywhere people like on preview or wherever people want to play with it?
It is going. The first release only tracks transactions inside of the system, so no commits or decommits to the system itself. That means that you can already integrate with, let's say, if you're doing Steam and you're managing user balances inside of it, but you don't care about the backend or anything like that, then you can already do that. Of course, I would not, because there has been no auditing or anything like that.
Yeah. Cool. Well, congrats. We look forward
Awesome.
to that.
Thank you.
Definitely.
Adrian.
Hey people, sorry I'm late. I just had a conflicting meeting, which also ran over. So, yeah, nice to see you guys. What's did I interrupt anything?
No,
Yeah.
I was just presenting the last update for my Catalyst project. It's going to have a small release soon.
Nice, cool. That's good. I've seen a couple of Hydra-related Catalyst proposals this round as well, so hoping that we'll see some cool things coming out. There's at least two that I've been sort of helping draft at least, and then I'm sort of guiding some teams into hopefully picking up Hydra and making some cool stuff with it.
Awesome. For F12, I saw like 2 or 3 projects at most. So mine was one of them. But for F13, there has been a lot of them. It's awesome to see.
Yeah, I like to see it. I think next year is going to be hopefully pretty big. I'm looking forward to seeing a bunch of announcements and releases and new stuff to play with. And as new things are coming out, other things will interact with it, and it's going to be like a proper party.
For sure.
So
I have a bit more news. If
Please.
you guys wanna hear out. So our most of our work is on the wine supply chain tracking and traceability, logistics, tokenization, and so on. And we implemented the proof of concept from Fund 11. It's finished, just not the final milestone done, but we kind of proved that everything is possible. And then we, in Fund 12, we went with a winery operations management system and reporting towards state agencies. And during the work on this MVP project, MVP category project, we talked to a lot of wineries, to the state agency for wine, to the state agency for safety of food safety. And they're like, they want to work with some more immutable stuff and more trustworthy and triangulated stuff. So we're now participating in the partnership category. And I'm saying this here because there's a few elements that are going to use Hydra by the proof of concept that we did in the spring and summer. So it's when we tokenize some data and we want to be able to change it often, we would be doing this in Hydra. So it's using Cardano and the principles, but it's mostly going to be on Hydra. So that's data about storage conditions for wine aging, data about the logistical movements, and it's also something that I couldn't even have dreamt to start understanding and understand how I'm able to do this with a team. It's warehouse receipts. It's a big buzzword, but lately it became it's so easy. It's just, I mean, it's not going to take a day, but it's straightforward. And that one would be using Hydra as well, because you don't want to spend one ADAS at some point next year, because it's the year of Hydra. We're going to be probably going to be able to create those warehouse receipts directly in Hydra without needing to commit and decommit stuff. I hope I'm right, but I think that's kind of the narrative. We have to get there. If we're not, please let's go. I'm going to be pushing this part, but although we can deal with layer 1 if needed, but that would be perfect to do a lot of stuff without even having to interact with layer 1, while we have a good system of nodes, somewhat decentralized. Hydra head that never closes and is decentralized between, let's say, the most known and trusted stake pool operators that we have on Cardano and so on. We're my head is square and big now from all the research writing this proposal. Like 3 weeks ago, I got so stuck. I was like, the proposal was finalized. It was saying everything. I was looking at it and I wouldn't understand anything. Like nobody else would understand that. And then for 10 days, I was in a big depressive moment. I didn't know what is happening. What is the thing that needs? And around a week ago, it finally came all together, and we're finalizing rewriting it. And I would be very thankful for some people to have a look at it in a couple of days from now, when we finalize it with all the diagrams and the plans that we have, and give us some feedback before the 7th of November.
I'm almost fine. I have been reading at least 3 papers a day since January. I want to jump from a window, but I have like a screen here, so I'm not. That's like the only thing.
It sounds
yeah,
great. Feel free to share a link to when it's ready.
For sure. And the hardest thing about doing the proposals is to make it simple. Make it complex is so easy.
Yeah, that's true. I had to talk to a linguist to sort some of the stuff out.
That's great. It's interesting. It's not the first time we've heard of people wanting to use Hydra for kind of receipt-based processing things. So that's interesting trivia for you. So that's interesting.
Yeah, and I also have a tip for all of you that are going to need to write lots of stuff. If you have enough money, hire a technical writer. It's going to make your life much, 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 much easier. I only work at one company that did that. Every team had one technical writer. It was the best experience I ever had.
Yeah, it's true.
I believe you.
Yeah, it's amazing if you have that resource and you're doing stuff. It's amazing how approachable the thing you're making suddenly becomes.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, Trim, did you have anything in particular you wanted to bring to the meeting?
Not at the moment. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff going on with the Doom project. It's still alive. It's still building. It's going to be a lot bigger this time. There's still some sorting out and getting approval of messaging and everything involved, so I'm not going to spoil too much, but we are definitely going to be delivering on the stuff that has been said, not obviously not for the summit, which was the initial announcement, but it's going to be worth the wait. Let's just say that. Yeah, it's going to be. We have some opportunities where I'm just wrapping up sort of the last few items now before we can send things out and sort of announce the opportunities that are involved. So I'm hoping that people can get involved, and the whole thing it's going to be an absolutely incredible and also insane limit test for Hydra in deployment. Right, we're going to push it a whole lot further than we did last time. So I'm looking forward to that. I'm looking forward to see sort of how does this, we've heard a lot of things about this tech. How does it hold up, in the real world? It's always a nice thing to sort of verify that the thing that you should work, that it actually works, right? So I'm looking very, very much forward to that, and I'm hoping that people will get excited when we start pushing news out.
Definitely.
So yeah, I don't know if you caught Charles's stream on Saturday. He did a stream with the Grabbit guys, and he basically said that. Well, he literally said that 2025 is going to be the year of Hydra. So let's make it happen.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, cool. Well, if we don't have anything else, I think actually was it you, Kanye, that was asking about the Hydra tail protocol as well?
Yeah.
I think.
Interhead, Hydra, Hydra tail.
Yeah, so there hasn't been any progress on the Hydra tail, really, as far as I know it.
Yeah, I don't think realistically that we will progress much on it. I spoke with Sebastian on it before he went on paternity leave, and it struck me that the Hydra tail protocol as described was very, very similar to Rollup. So instead of remaking what other people are already making, why not partner up? So I think what we might see is integrations between Hydra and Midgard and the ZK ones as well, and sort of any other roll-up that happens to also use the EOTXO ledger. So
awesome.
that's, yeah, I think that's going to be a pretty good sort of collaboration, and it's part of this full Hydra vision, right? That I think is pretty interesting. On the Intrahead Hydra, the research paper was dropped a little while ago, and there is a Catalyst funding proposal to do a feasibility study for the engineering, I think, or basically a feasibility check. It's not for the engineering of the solution itself, but is it even possible? How would we do it if we were to do it? And kind of looking into these kinds of questions and trying to scope out the landscape of the engineering a little bit. It's co-proposed with Philip Desaro from Anastasia Labs.
We chatted a bit about this earlier on.
Okay, yeah. Good. Yeah. So that is sort of on the topic of Intrahead Hydra as well.
Yeah.
Awesome. So my follow-up question might be already responded, but I was going to ask if there is anyone working on a Bolt 11 like invoice system. When you request a payment with Lightning, you send an invoice. This invoice is called Bolt 11. But I think it might be related to Hydra Tails more, so it would be something else too. That's it.
I certainly have no
idea.
Yeah.
There was is that like a product running on the protocol, or is it like a part of the protocol itself?
It's a standard for invoice. At least on Lightning, it has some information about routing, what server or what channel needs to receive the payment, and so on.
Okay.
So every time that you do a transaction that you go to a website and say pay with Lightning and pay with Lightning, you get an invoice like this, and that's what gets routed in a sense.
sounds like maybe something that would be suitable for Learner Labs. If you're not familiar, the Adam Dean was kind of asked, yes, although not funded yet, to set up the Lightning Labs for Hydra, which is called Learner Labs, from the Greek word for, I think it was like a Hydra-like being in the Greek mythology.
Okay, yeah. I've talked a little bit about this before, but my project is kind of replicating Cashew on Bitcoin with some advancements. On Bitcoin, it works directly on top of Hydra or on top of Lightning, but we don't have invoices yet or no way to like do Hydra payments directly to other different channels. But at some point, I'm gonna have to get there, and that's so good to know that we have at least one company working on it, or that is going to be working on it.
Yeah, I mean, it needs to be flagged, right? And he needs to have the sort of runway to do that. But I think it might be something that he could be positioned to do eventually, because he's involved with a lot of zip drafts and edits and creating wallet standards and all kinds of things. So might be
Ethan
might be
has a lot of
fit.
experience in that.
Yeah, might be a good fit to bring it up with him. But I think we should, sort of looping back to a conversation that I had a little bit earlier today with Noon, I think it would be useful to try and capture as many of these sort of items as possible, because we want to make sort of a lot of these things happen, and it's not entirely clear sort of how exactly things will be structured. Obviously now with governance coming online and funding sort of a little bit into the ecosystem and or in the ecosystem's hands, and sort of Intersect has their things, and I certainly don't know how the development is going to look like through out of next year, but it's always a good idea to capture these sort of actual use cases and actual requirements with potential customers on the other end. So yeah, we should maybe have like a bucket for those things.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. People could make the issues on the Hydra working group or something, and the Reaper, if anyone wants to track things. Or pull requests, whatever, however you want.
Problem statements.
Yeah.
Maybe we should have a repo for like a wish list features. I do remember that a few weeks ago I posted something on one of the Hydra channels because I saw a discussion about using Wrapped for consensus between the Hydra nodes, and we have since we're only doing UTXOs, we have some nice properties that we could use. I think that maybe having a repository where people can add like issues or things that they would like to see, or some ideas that like a brain dump.
Yeah, it's a good idea. Let me have a think about it, because I guess is you're feeling like it's just a bit too hard to write that down on the Hydra repo itself or something, or not quite the right place.
I don't think it's quite the right place, mostly because if you have an issue on the Hydra repo, that means that at least implicit the developers have some obligation to do something. But if you have a repo where you don't have it, no, you don't. But at least it's expected that if you create an issue, someone is at least going to take a look at it and see if it's possible or anything like that.
Yeah.
And you don't want to have lots of like feature requests just polluting the repository.
No, it's a good point. It's a great point. Let's have a think about that, Trim, because I think it would be really nice to like have a lightweight way to capture some of these like ecosystem things that people just like care about, that just as like the working group space is kind of a nice place to capture it. It's like, these are just things that like various people in the working group are like care enough to write down and discuss with each other. I think that's a pretty nice thing to facilitate.
Absolutely, I think so as well. And like, not everything is about the node features themselves. So not everything fits as a Hydra node issue. So we should definitely have something like that, which because some things like that might be very useful to roll into the design and implementation of stuff like Gummy Worm, for example, right? Like, we have all of these use cases in mind and these problems. Like, can I address some of these? Like, can I take some inspiration from some of these to enhance the quality of the protocol, for example? I think could be a good idea.
Yeah.
And then the person that brings it up can probably just draft a pull request or something with a little bit of info about it, and then we have it in one place.
Yeah, well, let's leave that as an action for us to have a think about, and we can use, if you're happy to be a guinea pig, when we come up with an idea, we can get you to log something via that approach, see how you like it.
I have more ideas than common sense, so.
Perfect.
Yeah, if you give me a place to
combination.
write incomplete thoughts, then that's what I'm going to do.
Can't wait. Perfect. Well, that seems like a great place to end the meeting. Thanks everyone for attending, and see you next time.
Yep. See you guys.
See you
Thank
later.
you, everyone.
Bye.
See you.
Bye.
Bye.